We'll start with our Sunday salutes. And, Billy, how good were your Melbourne Storm on Friday night?
Yeah, and before you can improve on last year, back-to-back grand finals for the Melbourne Storm, saluting them. Before you can improve on that, you need to get back there, and that's what they did on Friday night. They got back to the grand final. Craig Bellamy, it's his 11th grand final in 23-year career as a head coach. What an amazing achievement for him. I thought Jerome Hughes was outstanding as well. A brave and courageous performance by Jerome. He's got that left arm heavily strapped. He broke it only 3 weeks ago. Also dislocated his shoulder a couple of months ago. So to get out there and put his team in the grand final, that was a brave effort by Jerome. You okay? Are you a bit hot?
I'm all right.
Well, Suncorp Stadium's a beauty, and the King, Wally Lewis, has chosen this as his resting place.
He's just over there too. I reckon this would be all time. Wally Lewis getting buried out next to his statue. Although I thought it'd be in here amongst the grounds. We know what Wally Lewis means to rugby league, but especially Queensland. And I reckon without Wally, I wonder if Origin would be what it is today without what the King produced for Queensland. So, well, hopefully he's with us a little bit longer. He's listening over there, the King. But
there he is. Big
I
wave
think
to the King.
I reckon
Be on
that'd
shortly.
be all time if Wally was buried here.
Well, we have a couple of members of the 9 team with statues. Does that mean, Billy, you're going to be, you and Cam?
You'd have to be next door to each other.
Buried next to each other. I'm not sure if your family would.
Well, we were born an hour apart, so
it's only fitting.
There you go. It's just fitting. Cam and I, there we are. There's Jonathan up in Townsville after that heroic grand final win.
Big Mal.
In Canberra.
There's a lot of ash there with Mal. He's a big man.
Lockie.
Yeah, Lockie.
Lockie got one out there. Alfie. Who else?
Alfie would be buried at the pub, wouldn't he?
Yeah, Caxton, just up the road.
Yeah, Arthur Beatson's out there as well. So
cool.
What a legend.
Yeah, but if it happens, I think it'd be all time.
Yeah.
Wouldn't
it? Well,
chat to Wally a little bit later on in Turn It Up. And Freddie, who are you saluting this special Sunday morning?
My salutes are the matchups this week. I thought on Friday night, the two captains, the two number 9s, they're both absolute warriors, Blake Brayley and, of course, Harry Grant. And then today my matchup is the superstars. We've got Nathan Cleary up against Reece Walsh. The Mo is back. How good? The Mo. It was like the 80s when everyone had Mo's. But now our best 2 players in the game are wearing Mo's.
They're only little Mo's, but they're not the big, thick Mo.
Well, on Turn It Up, you've got the King later. He had a massive Mo. Some of the great Mo's of the past, I think Cliff Lyons had a great Mo.
Dipper in the AFL.
Different code.
Late Sam Bacco.
The late Sam Bacco had a great Mo.
Rod Reddy, he was another one with a Mo.
Did you ever have a Mo?
Just starting to grow a Mo now. It's eluded me for 42 years.
Joey normally goes the beard, the full beard.
Yeah, I like the beard. My Mo would be dirty.
Mo Fodawaker.
There's my Mo.
You back in the day. That's dirty. That's dirty.
Look at that for a grub.
That's why I didn't
Imagine
throw a
that
Mo.
man in the dark corner.
Cliffy.
Yeah, the great Cliffy Lyons. I think it was mesmerising people with the ball because I was looking at the Mo and then, of course, the King. That was thick. Daryl Broman.
Daryl.
He had a Mo for a big part of his career. Who else we
Kerry
got?
Hemsley.
Kerry Hemsley. What a wild bit of gear he was.
Yeah, Cameron Munster supported the Mo.
Terry Lamb.
Terry Lamb. So I reckon the biggest matchup would have been 40 years ago when Terry and the King, or Brett Kenny had a Mo too.
Reg Reagan. Reg Reagan had a good one.
That was dirty. That was dirty.
They all were. A-grade Sunday salutes for a very special morning. We're going to head up to Caxton Street now. That is where it is all happening. And we find Sammy Thaiday and Bronte Gilday.
Thanks, Emma. Well, we're in the almighty Caxton Street. Sam Thaiday, you know these streets particularly well, I think. The vibe is building down here.
I do know these streets really well. Actually, it's one of my favourite restaurants right here, Black Hyde. I'm known as the original Black Hyde, actually. But there is a vibe going on here. We are coming to the famous Caxton Hotel. A little bit of magic round feel about this. The fans are out today, so I'm absolutely pumped for this game. We might need to stop in here quickly, if that's okay.
Oh, what's the time? 5 o'clock somewhere?
Well, I forgot my watch, and it always says 5 o'clock somewhere on my watch.
One more question for you, Sam.
No? Oh, okay. Yep.
This place was absolutely buzzing when the Broncos made it through against the Raiders a couple of weeks ago. Are you expecting it to be bigger again today?
Well, I know how hard it was to get a ticket to the game, so this is the next port of call. If you can't get a ticket to Suncorp Stadium, all of the Broncos fans will be right here at Caxton, and I'm sure it will be buzzing when the Broncos win today.
And a chance to win a couple of tickets as well.
Oh, yes, yeah. Freddie's pass-off later on versus me. I have been practicing, so, so there might be a chance for a couple of punters to get 2 tickets later on. So you have to see me in the car park. Not like that, but pass-off.
Obvious question, who's your tip, by how much?
I've got to go with my heart. I'm going to say the Broncos. They've been playing some great footy. Penrith Panthers, we know that they're a champion team, but the vibe... it's Marbo, it's everything today. It's all about the Broncos.
I think all the punters here at the Caco will tell you the same thing, Em.
Love it. Thank you, Bronte. We'll chat to you both again in a little while. Suncorp Stadium looking an absolute beauty. Speaking of beauty, how good were the Melbourne Storm on a Friday night? They've booked their spot in another grand final, Freddie. They're 11th in 23 years under Craig Bellamy. Billy just said earlier the fact that it's so hard to even get to this point, and it got close towards the death, but all round they're just such a classy outfit and showed why they've been a powerhouse for the last few decades.
Well, I think it's an understatement to say they're consistent, because they're consistently great. The standards they have in defence, that was one of the big differences early in the game, just winning those tackles, tackle after tackle after tackle. Not only that, I thought with the ball, Big Stefano I thought made a huge impact early on. And the other part of the game which I thought was very impressive was the fact Cameron Munster, Jerome Hughes, Ryan Pappenhausen got tackled a lot. They ran a lot. They threw a lot of dummies. One of the biggest difference in the stats that I looked through was there was 55 dummies for Melbourne, while 7 for Cronulla. That just tells you a lot of the ball players, instead of passing, they ran. Munster ran for 200 metres, Jerome Hughes for 100 and something. They were very impressive.
The great players in the big games, and we're talking the Munsters, the Clearys, Ryan Pappenhausens, they just increase their involvement. You think about the 23 grand final with Nathan Cleary. He didn't do anything that he's not capable of doing. He just increased his opportunities to outlay his talent. And Cameron Munster does that in the big games. Last Friday night against the Sharks, he just got the ball more often and things just happen around him. I don't even think he plans for a lot of it, but he just plays the way he plays when he gets the footy in his hands. He's got a great dummy. He went through untouched there at one stage just by his deception and throwing the ball. And he's such a strong runner. He was taking hit-ups there at one stage. So, yeah, the great players, they just increase their involvements in the big games.
Well, the hit-up, when Coates scored that try, he hit it up and left 2 players on the ground. Yeah. Harry got out of dummy half on the last play. Look, he's a superstar. And in the end, that was the difference. The superstars in the key positions for Melbourne, they got him home.
That try there to Pappenhausen, that was just before half-time. It was 2 tries apiece. They were going toe-to-toe with the Sharks, and that just sort of broke the drought. It just separated them at half-time, and then the Storm just suffocated their opposition in the second half.
That ended up being the difference because it was an 8-point difference.
Yeah.
And that was always, I thought Cronulla played to that 8-point difference, and there was a stage where they actually come down on the line, took the goal kick to go within 6, but then actually Melbourne kicked a goal a couple of minutes later. So that 8 points, I think, was always in the back of their mind and guided a bit of the way they played.
That try from Pappy, it was exactly as he'd predicted, I guess, in that pre-game interview with you when you said, when do you think you're looking to really inject yourself? And he said, probably just before that half-time, and we saw it. And he's had his struggles this year as well with injury, but once again, on the big stage, it was a great performance from Ryan Pappenhausen.
Yeah, and he actually played the ball 2 plays earlier. So involved in the set twice. Wasn't just content with the one play. Played the ball, then got back to his feet, connected with Munster, saw the opportunity, went after his game. That try-saving tackle was a big moment in the game as well. There were 3 players that have been hampered with injury over the back end of this year. Jerome Hughes, Will Warbrick and Ryan Pappenhausen. And they were 3 of the best players on the field. I thought their involvements were great. The other guy is Stefano Tuikamanu. He wasn't at the Melbourne Storm. He's only one of 2 players that will play in the grand final next week that wasn't there last year. And what an inclusion he's been. He's elevated himself to one of the best front rowers in the game, and he is the intimidator in the Melbourne Storm pack at the moment. Now, we like to focus on the footy and the epic performance from the Storm, but there's been a bit of chat about the amount of penalties that were given and the performance from Ashley Klein. So Craig Fitzgibbon was pretty critical in that post-match media conference and had said the ball was only in play for about 22 minutes in that first half. I think the NRL have come out and said it was probably more 25, 26 minutes, but regardless, do you
agree there were too many penalties, Freddie?
I just think it was a little bit sensitive for the game. I think at the game you got to give it a little bit of give it room to move and breathe, and I don't think he allowed that. There was a penalty very early against Nick Mooney, which I totally agreed with, and he was trying to set a standard. But I felt there's a lot of high tackles and a lot of contact penalties given that mostly weren't. The one where they went through and I think Xavier Coates came in and tackled someone, I thought that was, you're talking I just thought he was way too sensitive, and if you just wound that back a little bit, I don't think it actually dictated who won the game, but I just think it could have been mostly a better game with maybe some more points scored.
There's a couple for me. If an opposition rolls down the field and kicks to the corner and gets them a metre out from the try line, I think there was maybe 2 or 3 where they got pinged for offside. There's got to be a feel for the referee to say, Rodder, here's a reward. And if you're half a foot offside, play on, but then get back 11 metres, get them back a bit further. Look, you can have a penalty every ruck. You can look at it both ways. The players, you can say, well, stop wrestling and stop cheating, but it's never going to happen. It's a hard one for the refs because it's every ruck, if you want to be pedantic, you can find a penalty. But we all know the game's best when there's about 8, maybe 10 penalties blown. Let the game flow, get fatigue in the game so our creative players can create.
The hard thing for the referees is they're all warranted, right? All those actions warrant a penalty. It's about managing the game, and we've got so many referees with voices. Those offside penalties, they're called by the touch judges. So the referee in the middle can't ignore them. He needs to listen to them. Back in the old days when there was only one referee, well, he could manage the game. If they were a metre offside, we would just get back 11 metres. And just manage the game. The fatigue works everything out. So that's probably a little bit too many, but at the same time, they're all warranted too.
Freddie, you're saying the bunker doesn't tip? So I'm worried the bunker is in the referee's ear.
No.
Which would be horrible.
No, not always,
okay.
no.
Yeah.
No. The touch judge, they're in communication, and there's just lines of passages of communication.
Well, how can they have a feel for the game if someone's in their ear?
Well,
imagine playing and you're looking to go short side and the coach is going, no, go long side, kick. You'd be going, oh.
They pick everything up. Everything is picked up. Braden Trindle received a kick off Nico Hines. It sort of bounced back. It was a torpedo and bounced back. It was a metre offside. They pick everything up. If you think you can get away with anything in the game, think again, because they're right on the ball, the referees.
Well, thankfully, it didn't affect the result. Now that the Storm have locked a place in the grand final for next week, how much is last year and that drive for redemption in the back of their minds, Billy? I'm sure every athlete is different, but I know you've said over the last few weeks that you never forget the pain of losing a grand final. There'll
be 15 guys playing in the grand final this week that will have that deep motivation of last year. And when you lose a grand final, that burns until you actually go back and win one. And then it still burns a little bit after that. But they've given themselves a chance. That's the hardest thing, is go through the 10 months of training, of a 27-week home and away season, and then get it right in the finals to actually be back there. The huge advantage they do have is they've got a 9-day preparation into a grand final, which the teams that play today won't have.